Welcome to The Explainer. So, when you think about AI in 2025, you might be picturing, smarter robots or something like that. But the real story, it's much bigger. It's about a choice that all of us are facing, a choice between empowerment and control. And that's exactly what we're going to get into today.
Yeah, this isn't some theoretical thing happening in a lab anymore. This is a full-blown global drama. We're talking secret recipes for code, a geopolitical war over computer chips, and a financial boom that is just changing, well, everything. The stakes, they honestly could not be higher.
So, let's start with what we're calling AI's new Cold War. And really, at the heart of all this is a massive conflict. But, this isn't your typical war between countries. It's more of a clash of ideas, a battle of philosophies over one huge question. Who gets to control this unbelievably powerful technology? And this really boils it down perfectly. You've got these two completely different ways of thinking about AI. On one side, you have the closed source folks. Think of it like a secret recipe. The company keeps the code private and you're totally dependent on them. Then, on the other side, you have open source AI, which is all about sharing with everyone. The code is public and anyone can take it, use it, and even adapt it. And for a long time, the closed source model was king. I mean, a few huge Western companies, think OpenAI with ChatGPT, they basically controlled the whole show. If you wanted to use their powerful AI, you had to play by their rules, period. It created this complete dependency. Imagine if they jacked up the prices, or just decided to cut you off one day. What would you do? You'd be totally powerless. But then, everything changed. This Chinese company, DeepSeek, comes out of nowhere and does something that was, frankly, radical. They released a super powerful AI model that wasn't just cheap, it was open source. And just like that, the whole game was different. Suddenly, China has this huge competitive edge, and let me tell you, the US tech scene was absolutely reeling. They were totally blindsided. So how did the US respond? Well, it wasn't with code, it was with hardware. Washington decided to play its trump card, its near total control over the most advanced computer chips in the world. And things happened fast. First, in April 2025, a ban on exporting NVIDIA's H20 chips to China. Then, after some serious lobbying, that ban gets lifted in July, and by August, Washington's rolling out a whole new framework. You want to export chips? Fine, but we get a 15% cut of the revenue.
And what's the strategy here? Well, in the words of Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, it's to make China addicted to U.S. tech. The thinking is, if you let companies like NVIDIA sell their chips to China, then all the big Chinese tech firms will get hooked on American hardware. And if they're hooked, Washington has some serious leverage in any future talks. It's a really high-stakes chess game, and honestly, there's no guarantee it's going to work. Okay, so behind this huge geopolitical chess match, there's just a mind-blowing amount of money being thrown around. Because look, to win the AI race, it's not just about software. You have to build the engine. You need the physical infrastructure. And that requires cash on a scale we've almost never seen before. Just try to wrap your head around this number. McKinsey is estimating that by 2030, we're going to need to invest up to $5.2 trillion. Trillion. And let's be super clear here. That's not for the fancy AI software. Nope. That's just for the data centers, the actual buildings, the servers, the insane amount of power, just to keep the lights on for this whole revolution. It's staggering. And the demand is so huge that the usual ways of paying for things just aren't cutting it. I mean, even the hyperscalers like Google and Microsoft can't just pay for this with their own cash anymore. So what do? They're turning to debt, issuing bonds, and taking out massive loans. And Wall Street, of course, is getting creative. They're inventing brand new financial tools like securitizing data center debt and even using the graphics processors, the GPUs themselves as collateral. It's a whole new world of finance. But all this frantic spending, it comes with a huge risk. And you can't help but get a little bit of déjà vu, right? It feels a lot like the late 90s dot-com bubble. Remember that? All those telecom companies laid millions of miles of fiber optic cables, thinking the demand would be endless. They were wrong, and a lot of them went bankrupt. So the big question is, are we doing the exact same thing all over again, but this time with data centers?
Okay, so we've talked about geopolitics and trillions of dollars. It's all very big picture. But to really get what this all means, let's zoom all the way in. Let's look at a single, amazing human story that shows what this technology can actually do for one person's life. This is Julia McCoy, and she's an entrepreneur with an incredible story.
right in the middle of a really serious health crisis, she turned to AI. And it wasn't just, a tool to help her business. It was her lifeline. She says her AI clone saved her business. But more importantly, it gave her her freedom back. I mean, get this. She was so sick, she literally couldn't even sit up to record YouTube videos for her business. So what did she do? Something that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. She cloned herself. Using tools that, believe it or not, are available to pretty much anyone, she gathered her audio and video, built a voice clone with a tool like 11 Labs, and then created a video avatar on a platform like HeyGen. She made a digital version of herself that could step in and do her job for her. And the results were, wow, just astonishing. The very first video she put out using her new AI clone just blew up. Her views were 3.8 times higher than her normal videos, and people were watching for nearly 8 minutes on average. The clone wasn't just a stand-in. It was actually better at engaging her audience. It was a total upgrade. But here's where the story gets really incredible. It wasn't just about her business. See, Julia was also fighting the medical system. Her doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong, even telling her it was all in her head. So she turned to AI research tools. She put in all her own medical data, and the AI came back with possible diagnoses, real life-threatening conditions like POTS and adrenal failure. So the real story here is that AI didn't just save her business, it helped save her life. So Julia's story is it's this amazing example of what AI can do for personal empowerment. But we have to zoom back out, because the exact same technology, the ability to create realistic clones in videos, also opens up a whole can of worms for society. Think about it. At the same time Julia is using AI to create and to heal, these tools are also being used as political weapons. In October of 2025, for example, President Trump reposted an AI-generated video. It showed a plane that said King Trump on it, dumping sludge on protesters. It's such a stark reminder that this tech can be used in wildly different ways. And that really is the two sides of the AI coin, isn't it? On one hand, you have this incredible promise, freedom from the daily grind, brand new ways to be creative, even powerful tools for health. But on the other hand, you have the peril, political misinformation, a growing digital divide, and maybe even a loneliness epidemic. It's a huge paradox. And that brings us right back to Julia McCoy and her really kind of radical idea about this whole thing. She thinks we might be looking at this all wrong. What if the whole point of AI isn't just to make us more productive little worker bees? What if, as she puts it, we can use the machines to do better at being human? What if we let the machines take over our jobs so we can get back to, campfires, laughter, and telling stories? And that's the vision, right? The core idea is that for so long, we humans have been doing machine work. You know what I'm talking about. The repetitive, data-driven, soul-crushing tasks that make us feel like cogs in a system. AI gives us this chance, maybe for the first time in history, to hand all that machine work over to actual machines. And that would free us up to focus on what humans are actually good at: connection, creativity, and reclaiming a bit of our own lives. And that, right there, is the real AI race of 2025. It's not really about closed source versus open source. It's not just China versus the US. The real race is this. As AI gets better and better at doing machine work, how are we going to get better at being human? That's the question we all have to answer. And it's a race every single one of us has a stake in.